reluctantly crouched at the starting line. Engines pumping and thumping in time. The green light flashes, the flags go up. Churning and burning, they yearn for the cup. They deftly maneuver and muscle for...
Hey folks, welcome back. Welcome back to another Spoonie Reviews segment where I am going to do my best to both drive in my car because my schedule is getting to that point where if I don't multitask, I don't get on the air, I don't get on YouTube, and, you know, you don't get to hear the show. So, welcome to another episode where I'm multitasking and hopefully also giving you some good input about a local business, maybe local for some of you. I think all small businesses are local businesses, and this certainly is a small business. So I want to do a quick PSA, FYI, to whom it may concern message. And of course, that has to do with the fact that I am reviewing a dispensary, a marijuana dispensary, as it were. I know, boo hiss, right? But stay with me, okay? Stay with me. So, I'm doing this review of a marijuana dispensary that is geared toward health and wellness. It works with people with chronic conditions of all types, as well as folks who are just using marijuana recreationally or for, other issues. So, please understand, that I am not advocating the use of marijuana where it's not legal. I'm not telling you to use marijuana. I'm just giving you my review of my experience with this business as a Spoonie. Okay, so please keep that in mind, and please also keep in mind that I am referring to a business. I'm making reference to this business that exists in a state where marijuana is legal both recreationally and medically. Okay, please keep that in mind. We're not talking about anything illegal here. We're not advocating anything illegal. I do not advocate breaking the law. I do not advocate illegal drug use. Let's get that straight up front, first and foremost. And please just understand that. So what I'm going to be doing is letting you know as a Spoonie how I feel about this business. You can go onto Yelp and read my review. This business is located in the heart of the downtown area of Salem, Oregon. I believe close to the college campus. And like I said, they provide medical and recreational marijuana. And I noticed when I walked in, first and foremost, that it's a really professional environment. Yes, it's chill, and yes, it's really kind of a cool, enticing place. But the first thing I noticed was how professional it was. And you walk in and you know that these people are about their business, that they're not there to mess around. They're not there watching Half-Baked all day or watching Dazed and Confused all day or, just sitting and listening to Zeppelin. Nothing wrong with that. But, they're here to help people and they're here to really make an impact on this world. And so I did get to talk with the owner and with several of the employees, all of whom were really thrilled about what they're doing. The employees that work there were just absolutely thrilled to be working at this place where they could just make a difference and help people and do something really cutting edge and really interesting. And so this is a newer dispensary. I believe that the marijuana legalization did not take place until somewhat recently, like in the last couple of years over in Oregon and Washington. So, this is a new thing for them. This is definitely not, this is not same old, same stuff, different day stuff over there. This is really new and cutting edge. Now, I want to tell you what kinds of things this place offers. I find it really interesting that some of these dispensaries, Diem included, offer products that obviously go above and beyond just the bud or the flower, as they like to call it out there. So I'll give you a quick little lesson in how to reference marijuana out in Oregon. It is not called weed, it's not called marijuana, it's called flower. So if you're looking for smokable marijuana out there in that legal place where you can legally use it, either medically or recreationally, and enjoy it in a responsible way, it is called flower. What you're going to ask for is flower. And there are many other products there that are not geared toward, recreational use. So they've got a really, really big selection of flower. They've got sativas, they've got indicas, they've got hybrids, and they're very thorough and very specific in how they label and how they dole out the inventory that they have. If you look at the stuff that they have in the store, pick up, one of the bottles that they sell people product in, you're going to see that every tiny little bit of information about what is in the product you're using, whether it be CBD oil, whether it be THC, whether it be whether it be actual flower or buds, whether it be, a bath product, an edible, whatever, you're going to see every single detail about what is in the product you're getting and how to use it and what it's for, what it's going to feel like, taste like, smell like. And, this, I think, is one benefit of marijuana legalization, of course, in addition to the tax benefit. Certainly knowing exactly what is in the product that you're buying is really important, and I think can probably save people a lot of headache and a lot of anxiety. And I'm really impressed by that. I was absolutely blown away by the specific information that they have about the products that they're selling you. For instance, one product might say 17% THC, 5% CBD or something like that. Oftentimes, if what they're selling you is broken down into doses, like an edible or an oil or another sort of product that you're going to apply, apparently they will tell you exactly how much THC, CBD, etc. is in each dose of the product, which is really awesome. I mean, that's got to take the headache and the fear, I think, out of probably the experience of a first-time user. And I really was very impressed to see that. So I asked the gentleman at the counter, like, what would you recommend, for instance, for somebody with this condition? What would you recommend for somebody with cancer? What would you recommend for somebody with MS? What would you recommend for somebody with depression? What would you recommend for somebody with anxiety? What would you recommend for somebody with back pain, with migraines, whatever? And he absolutely knew his stuff and just rattled off some really interesting information. So, for instance, if you have mental health issues, you're going to want to steer away from the sativas, and I guess go with, now I'm not an expert in marijuana here, so don't quote me, but I guess you would go with like a hybrid or an indica. And so they were telling me, how THC affects the brain, how CBD affects the brain, and just, what products would be good for somebody with this ailment, what would be good for someone with that ailment. And apparently the indica strains are good for people who are in chronic pain. There are actually strains that are good for areas of the body that experience specific pain in a certain area, like, for instance, wrist pain, arthritis pain, back pain, leg pain, whatever, headache pain. There are different strains of marijuana that apparently can really help you. And conversely, there are different strains of marijuana that can really set you off. Now, again, I'm not an expert, and I don't want to say, here are some strains that are really great for this problem or that problem, or really bad for this problem or that problem, because I don't have that information at my disposal. I do have a background in pharmacology and psychology, but I don't have that kind of specific information at my disposal. I just found it very interesting to sort of receive this crash course just by walking in on a whim and talking to this wonderful business. So apparently, Spoonies, they do treat people with, fibromyalgia, with MS, with cancer, with cystic fibrosis, with migraines, with arthritis, with rheumatoid arthritis, with lupus. I mean, you name it, all of those sort of Spoonie conditions and all of the invisible illnesses certainly are really on their list of what they treat. And I think that is pretty amazing. That could be kind of revolutionary for those of us who are willing to give that a try, who suffer through chronic illnesses and, who are in constant pain. Apparently, there is quite the amphetamine problem out in Salem, Oregon. I am so sorry. Somebody with a modified bike is driving around looking like a jerk. So, apologies. I don't get the whole modified bike, let's make the engine louder to piss more people off thing. Not sexy in my opinion, but hey, whatever floats your boat, right? So, I digress. Back to the topic at hand. This is what you got when you're driving with me, and I'm doing the show and driving. So anyway, what I find really interesting is that apparently folks who, I'm so sorry, I just lost my train of thought. This guy completely cut me off. Apologies. So apparently folks who have anxiety, depression, mental health issues can be set off by certain strains, and other strains can help them. Now, this is interesting to me because Salem, Oregon, and I guess now Oregon in general, as well as Washington, very, very sadly, has a horrible amphetamine epidemic. Very, very unfortunate, and I will talk more about that at some point. It was a very sad sight to behold. There's a horrible homeless problem, a horrible meth epidemic, and chemicals like these can really set people's mental illnesses off. They really can. And to have something safe for people to take in a place where you can go talk to somebody knowledgeable and who's going to be able to tell you, okay, you're suffering from this, so don't use this strain of marijuana. Use this. This won't set you off. This will help you. This strain will set you off. This strain will help you. Let's find something that works for you. To be able to do that, I think, is so incredibly valuable and so just absolutely wonderful. And I would love to see in action what the owner of the store has told me is already happening, which is that folks who are on some of the heavy-duty painkillers, folks who are using illicit drugs, are actually getting off of those drugs, and they're getting onto legal marijuana. Now, when they purchase marijuana, of course, their tax revenue goes to the state to improve things like mental health, infrastructure, healthcare in general. And so, of course, that's something that's certainly beneficial to us Spoonies. I just found this all to be very, very interesting. The impact that legalization of marijuana in specific states can have on those of us who suffer from chronic illnesses does not stop when we consider folks, like us, using the actual drug itself. So even if you don't use marijuana, even if you don't patronize this particular establishment, having being in a state where marijuana is legal is going to benefit you. You're going to see improved services. You're going to see improved tax revenue. You're going to find, hopefully, more mental and physical health care available to you. And that is pretty miraculous and pretty awesome. So even if you don't choose to partake in the use of medical or recreational marijuana, you're likely going to see some benefits, Spoonies. So I really found it very interesting that this store focused on these issues. You know, I walked into a couple of other dispensaries just to see, you know, what do they look like? What's the game here? What do they sell? What's the culture like? And a lot of these places were, you know, not so much out to like treat people who were going through something or struggling. They were kind of kitschy, tourist trappy places where, you know, somebody who seriously needs some help with a physical or mental condition probably isn't going to feel comfortable going and saying, hey, what's going to help me with my depression? What's going to help me with my MS? You know, so I really liked that Diem seemed to be a place that was geared a little bit more toward the serious side, treating people who actually need treatment, assisting people who are suffering in some way, whose lives need to be improved. I really found that to just set this particular dispensary apart. And like I said, the knowledgeable staff, the knowledgeable and pleasant and friendly owner was a real plus as well. So I really enjoyed just kind of visiting, going in, talking to these folks and seeing what their story was and what kind of work they do, what they're all about. And I really was impressed with how much what they do benefits Spoonies. So I hope that this has helped you in some way. I do apologize for this complete and utter moron on this ridiculously loud bike that apparently has like a broken muffler as well as a modified engine. Apologies for that. I have never had that happen in all of my many months of doing sort of car podcasts. I do apologize. Only in America, right? I mean, definitely not something I'm on board with, and I do apologize if it has bothered you at all. You can clearly hear the engine idling over there, and, you know, apologies. But thank you for tuning in, and I hope that this podcast has helped you in some way. And if you're a Spoonie and you're in the Salem, Oregon area, please, by all means, check this place out and see if there's something that they can do to help you. If this is something that you choose to try and to partake in. Of course, again, advocating nothing. I'm just letting you know what my experiences have been, what my thoughts are on the matter, and certainly if you do choose to partake, please do so safely, responsibly, and legally, and keep it all on the up and up. So enjoy. Thank you for tuning in, and be well. Take care of yourselves, and know that you're not alone.
Tank, reckless and wild, they pour through the turns. Their prowess is potent and secretly stern. As they speed through the finish, the flags go down. The fans get up and they get out of town. The arena is empty, except for one man still driving and striving as fast as he can.